Hi folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and today we're going to work on a bracelet using the flat wire that we got in our Beadalon mystery bags. Now this is going to be like I explained when we were working on other things how to do, and so we will turn down and we'll get started, shall we? So I've got the flat wire here. I've got some red beads. These are what we're going to wire wrap across the top. We have some 22 gauge non-tarnished copper wire, which we'll use as the wrapper. And we have this metal easy bender for making cuff bracelets. Now, as you can see, it's still in the case. I've never used it. So we'll look at our instructions here. And it says it's designed specifically for bending metal bracelet blanks into oval cuffs. In just a few seconds, blanks can be perfectly curved into bracelets without the use of a mallet. And it says stick the end in one, wrap it around, and then, of course, you flip it and do the other end. So that's what we're going to do. We will get this out and work on it in just a minute. First, we need to get some wire out. Let it flip out again. And I'm thinking that we're going to need, well, my arm is 7 inches. Now, because we'll want to leave a little gap, we're going to cut about 7.5 inches, and then we will file that, and then we'll bend it. And after we get it bent, I will make a little simple loop on both ends to finish it off. So let's get our tape measure out. And like I say, I think I'm going to cut about 7.25 inches, maybe 7.5, because we are going to make those little bends at the end. So about 7.5 should be good. So about right here. So we'll get our big cutters out, and I will just push down as I bend it back and forth to get the size I want. Then we can put this aside. And like I say, we're going to file the ends down some so that we'll take any sharp corners off. Now this side has been filed a bit. This is the side that I experimented to see if the memory wire cutter would work on this, and it will, but it does leave some little notches along the edge. So that side's pretty much done. And then we'll do this side because it is quite rough still. Now I saw on YouTube that somebody else had made a similar bracelet, but they had beaded all the way across. I'm only going to bead the middle here. So now that we've got these filed, and I think they feel pretty good, we'll get out this bender bar that I have, metal easy bender. Like I said, I've never used it, so this is going to be a first. So we'll get this out. And it says to put the end into here and then just bend it around like so. And then we'll do the same with this other side. Now this side bent a little better, probably because I pushed on it the way I did. And we will do the same here with this side then. That's not really very even, is it? But that's all right. We can work it with our fingers and such till we get it a little better. And we can put it back in the bender again and see if we can get it to bend a little better. Get this way over to the edge so maybe it won't let that go. Take the bend out of that as it comes up and around. It's got a weird kink right here. It's probably from it when it was in the spool though. Now we will there, that's not bad. Still has that slight wowie right there. I thought it was in the other side, so maybe it's just the bender bar thing. So we'll put our bar aside because I think I'm pretty well done with it for now. And we'll just sort of see if we can hand form this a little better. Okay, so now what I want to do is I have to decide how big of loops I want, and I think I want them about this size. So I'm just going to bend the end up like so. Then we'll bend the other side just the same. There we go. Now if you wanted to, you could take your pliers and bend this down so that it's looks more like a simple loop, like this. Since we're going to do it to one, we'll have to do it to both, but there's that one. And that one. Now I'm going to actually do this by hand and make it more rounded. See what it looks like on my arm. Not bad. I could have made it a little bigger so it didn't have quite this much of a gap, but I don't think it's going to fall off, so I don't think it's really an issue. And if you had a smaller arm, it would actually be better. Have to remember next time to make it 8 to those so that we have that. There we go. Now that needs to go up just a hair's breadth. It looks like it's not quite there. Okay, there's our bangle. Now we'll cut loose our beads and get some wire out, and we'll hook these to the top. So I'll get out my regular clippers. We'll cut this open. And we'll probably want about 5 or 6 at least, because we're going to put them across the top here, like so. Though they'll have a little spread between them because I'm going to put some wire wraps between each one. So about like that. So now we'll get out our wire here. Now I've got 22 gauge. You could use 24 if you want something a little bigger. I'm going to take out a couple feet probably. Come on, go back on there. Ouch. So put that aside. Now this side is a little bit kinked up, so I'm hoping that I can get it done with this side without worrying about that. So we will wrap this around here a few times. Now you'll notice I got that right to the very edges there, and I'm going to take my nylon jaw pliers and I'm going to push that around. And I'll probably have to tighten that up some because I don't want to have a sharp edge there. But I'm going to put, 4 wraps here probably. Then we'll put our first bead in here. Actually, I'm going to make this be 5 wraps because I'm probably going to cut off that first one that we have in there because it's a little rough. So we'll have that. Then we're going to take and slide our first bead on. And it doesn't want to slide on this kink, so I'm going to cut it off. And we'll put our first bead on. Slide it down to the wire. Bring her a little bit. She's going to want to go a little sideways because we're going to go to the other side here, and that's fine. We're going to go 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to push those together. We're going to come up the other side and grab our next bead. Now we may not need all 6. We might be fine with just 5. We'll find out in just a bit. 1, 2, 3, and back up. Now we're going to want to squish these, but because they're tight, we're going to have to use our black pliers here because otherwise they won't get into that spot, and that's fine. Those need tightened up there a little bit. Okay. 1, 2, 3, back up, grab us a bead. Down. 1, 2, oops, that's going over the top of the other one. See that? We don't want that to happen. So we have to make sure that we get it back to where we want it. And again, it's trying to go over a little bit, but that's on the opposite side. See how these are pretty good? And that one wants to just go over the top of its buddies constantly here. So we have to push it down some. And that is 3. So we have our next bead now. On she goes. Now this one wants to go over a bit, so we have to convince her she needs to go where I've got her here. And we've got 1, 2, and 3. One more is going to be too many. See, it's going to come way over here. This is a little bit off, but I'm going to do my loops here. We have 5. Now what I'm going to do, 5 is this one that I'm going to adjust over here, so 5 is going to be adjusted here too. But what we want to do is, because this is not quite at the right spot, we're going to stretch these out just a little bit so that our wire is sitting pretty much in the same spot on our bangle. Now these ones are spread. We don't want them spread like that, so we'll push them together. And we're going to have to squish because this one is definitely not flat. And this end will get squished, but we're not quite ready for that end. So now what I'm going to do is, because this is sharp and I can feel it is, I'm going to pull it back and bring it over here. And I'm going to cut it in the middle of this. Now, if I thought I could get it to go underneath the other wires, I would try, but I don't think I can because I've already squished it down some. So what we need to do is make sure it's well squished and there's no sharp edge there. So that's that. This one has an extra one here, so we're going to pull it back off because we want it to mirror the other side, which is at 4. We'll trim this baby off and we will squish it down. Now rub your finger over it and see if there's any sharpness. There's not, so that's good. And there we go. There's our little bangle with the beaded beads on top. And like I said, I made this a little smaller than I should have made it, but as you can see, it looks like this when it's finished. And it still looks like it needs to maybe slide over this way just a hair's breadth, but one more bead I think would have been too much. No, maybe not, but it's good. So let's see what the difference is from one side to the other, and if I can just wiggle them over a little bit more if I need to. So from the bead to the loop is 2 inches. Loop to the bead, well, it's 2 inches. It's just right. So there we go. There's our little bangle. So there we go. There's our flat wire bangle. If you wanted to, you could take it and bead it all the way around. I think it's good this way, though this one looks a little bit, I don't know. It's not as, anyway, there we go. All done. Our little flat wire bangle. So that is what we were doing with that, and I hope you enjoyed making this with me. This has been Rose from In Rose's Garden, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.